Today's podcast is sponsored by the Association of Mature American Citizens, the only conservative alternative to AARP. Go to amac.us/Carter. I've got Arizona Representative Congressman Andy Biggs with me today on the Sara Carter Show, and we are going to be focused on the border crisis and how it's getting worse and worse. And the number of illegal crossings is way up. Guys, it's so far up. It is like literally like a tsunami of people coming across that border. You know, it's weird, but you think about like what our nation's already been through. And even before President Biden came into office, the border crisis was already a crisis. I mean, President Trump did everything he could, implemented a number of executive orders, said no way to the caravans that were coming towards the border. I think for the first time we had a president that actually wanted to do something about the border and actually did it. It wasn't just talk. But under Biden, it's a tsunami and it's going to get so far worse. By May 23rd, when they drop Title 42, that's it. That's why I have Congressman Andy Biggs on, because he's going to be talking to us about what's happening in Arizona, what's going on with the border caucus, what is, potentially going to be the worst national issues for our nation and what the lawmakers need to address. That's what's important here. Lawmakers like Congressman Biggs and others, they want to listen to us. They want to know what our problems are. And they want to resolve those problems, but they can't do it if up on Capitol Hill, the Democrats are continually battling them down. That's why November elections are going to be so important, folks. So important. This is an issue that is a national security crisis. It's a drug crisis that is killing our children, and it's the exploitation of human beings, and it's going to get worse. Please follow and subscribe. I want you to get all your links at saraacarter.com. That is saraacarter.com. Don't forget the A or you'll end up on someone else's site. And while you are there, sign up for our email list. The email list is so important. This way, you don't get shadow banned, guys, and I can keep in communication with you one-on-one. And I think that's the way we need to do it nowadays, right? I'm really excited about Elon Musk having Twitter. Right now, the biggest shareholder in Twitter, and hopefully things change. But we're up against huge corporations with their own agenda, and that agenda is to target us and the way we think and the way we believe in our nation. And we've got to be very well aware of that. So I don't want to get shadow banned. I want to stay in touch with you. Look, I want to talk to you a little bit about a brand new sponsor that I think is amazing. And it's microgels. And they have the most incredible vitamins I have ever taken, because you don't have to have like a ton of vitamins in front of you, taking one pill here, remembering which ones you took. No, they come in packets. They're like gel packets, and you just take them and you're on the go, and you can put them in your purse. You can travel with them. It's incredible. I started taking them because I wanted to try them out before I made them a sponsor for the show. And I can't even tell you how much better I feel, right? As you get older, your attention span gets shorter and shorter. With these gels and these vitamins completely geared towards your health, towards your mental health, and towards your physical health, you feel so much better. It supports focus, mental speed, rapid learning. Healthycell products are the best tasting pill-free supplements literally on the market. These microgels do not contain artificial sweeteners, flavorings, or colorings. You don't have to have your whole lineup of pills in front of you. Just put them in a little drawer, put them in a packet, carry them in your purse. You can go anywhere with them. The microgel also is gluten-free, soy-free, and vegetarian, for those of you out there that care about that. And it's made in the USA. Journey to better health with Healthycell. Go to healthycell.com/Carter. That's healthycell.com/Carter and use the promo code Carter. Listen to this, for 20% off your first order. Again, that's healthycell.com/Carter, promo code Carter for 20% off your first order. You can't get better than that. I want to talk to you a little bit about what the Biden administration is doing, and that's why I have Congressman Biggs on the show coming up later today. It is devastating. I have been on the phone, like I always am, with immigration and customs enforcement officers, with our border patrol agents, with members of the Texas Department of Public Safety, who are doing everything they can to protect our nation in lieu of the fact that our own government and President Joe Biden is not. And things are going to get a lot worse, folks. I need you to listen to this, because the Biden administration is actually going to remove Title 42 and is urging prosecutors to go easy on existing immigration cases. The memo was obtained first by BuzzFeed and is quoted from the Daily Mail. I want you to listen to this memo. And this is from the chief of ICE, attorney Carrie Doyle. She was appointed by Biden. The exercise of prosecutorial discretion, where appropriate, can preserve limited government resources, achieve just and fair outcomes in individual cases, and advance DHS's mission of administering and enforcing the immigration laws of the United States in a smart and sensible way that promotes public confidence. That is total bullshit. Prosecutorial discretion means that they're asking the prosecutors not to file charges or lessen the charges. It has happened so many times. I'm sorry to say. They have caught people before, illegal migrants in stolen vehicles, and they haven't charged them for stealing the vehicle because they don't want to have to jail them. They want to let them go. They'll jail you. They'll jail your children if they do it. If you're an American citizen, you got a bank account, they'll do that. They're not worried about hiding those numbers. They're not worried about taking your money. What they're worried about is you're going to see what's happening. That a lot of these migrants, some of them have been charged before in the United States, have been expelled, and now are coming back in, are going to be released into our general population. And I see it all the time. I was on planes just recently. I was leaving San Antonio in the morning. I even posted a picture. There were people laying all over the airport in foil blankets on the floor, on all the chairs. They had just been dropped off. And I'm not saying, because you know I'm out there with the immigrants. When I go to the border, I speak Spanish. I spend time in Central America. I go to Mexico. I love dealing with people. But what is happening on the border is not only a humanitarian crisis and a crime against the people that are crossing that border, but it is a crime against Americans and our national security. And if you think what I just told you was bad, there's even more. DHS is thinking about outsourcing immigration decisions to civilians and contractors. I'm not even joking. I want you to think about this. I did a story years ago on the Kansas City Processing Center for USCIS. That's United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. And when I was conducting that story, and there are people out there that remember this well, there were whistleblowers that came out against that department. And that was under the Bush administration, because there were contractors working there that were actually adjudicating people into the United States what appeared to be illegally. And I'm talking about people that came here like maybe with a student visa and all of a sudden became a United States citizen. And we're thinking about handing one of the most important national security decisions to civilians and contractors? Are you serious? And not only that, once again, and by the way, prosecutorial discretion has been happening for a while. People have been released that should have faced charges and been expelled from the United States. And I'm almost positive that some of these people had past run-ins with the law, with DUIs and other things that have put American lives in danger and probably led to deaths of Americans on our streets. But I want you to think about all the people we don't know. The people that have coming from all over the world, the people that may have ill intentions against our country. What is our government going to say? What are they going to say when a bomb goes off in Boston? When a bomb goes off in New York City or Dallas or Fort Worth or, anywhere in middle America or anywhere in the United States, and children and civilians are dead because we paid no attention to the border and a sleeper cell came in? Are they going to pretend like, oh, We had no idea this was going to happen. And then they're going to elongate some investigation and have some kind of commission that's never going to resolve the crisis and never going to hold anybody accountable. That pisses me off. That is why, even when the DOJ refuses to do their job, that is why journalists, columnists, people need to keep holding them accountable and exposing the truth and documenting it for history so that these assholes in Washington, D.C. that do not give a rat's butt about any of us or our children or our nation can be held accountable. That's why we can't stop doing it. That's why we can't stop pointing at them and exposing the truth. That's why I have Congressman Biggs on the show today. And I'm fired up, folks. I'm fired up because I am so angry about what is happening to our nation. And I just don't want to take it anymore. I'm tired of it. We need to wake up. We need to start holding our lawmakers accountable. Gosh, November can't come fast enough. 2024 can't come fast enough. I want to go back to those memos. Those memos show leadership within the agency discussing the need to allow members of its volunteer force, staffers who sign up to assist with border issues outside their normal roles, and outside contractors access the federal government's internal immigration data entry system. What did I tell you about? USCIS. And by the way, when I did that story, and I never completed all the stories that I was doing because they threatened me, under the USCIS, the folks that were working there at the time. I'll talk to you about that one day on another show coming up because I think that's an important story that I need to discuss with you all so you understand how serious this is. But that immigration and data entry system is like gold. It's gold. Everybody wants to get their hands on that. Now we're just going to turn it over to whoever. And by the way, they didn't even want to train half the people that were using that equipment because they didn't want them to know what was going on. But something's going on. That system is known as the E3. It compiles all information, including biometric data now, on migrants detained by Customs and Border Protection agents. E3 is a law enforcement system, meaning that civilians rarely get access without proper training and background clearances because the information in the system is so sensitive. A comprehensive background investigation is required to work in the system. The proposed changes could open up the country to a host of security concerns, according to the story. One senior DHS official said the change displays a lack of serious concern about controlling who can enter the country. This DHS official, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said it's quite astonishing when the administration's disregard for the border security and obsession with forcing mass migration through lack of enforcement is now being coupled with an ad hoc surrender of law enforcement jurisdiction to lay people and contractors. But you have to ask yourself why. That's what's so scary here. You need to ask yourself, why are they doing this? Why does the Biden administration and do these people in Congress, these lawmakers, mainly Democrats, want to destroy the fabric of our nation? When we get to Congressman Biggs, we're going to ask him about what's happening in Arizona and what's happening across the country. But just to give you an idea of what's happening in Yuma, Arizona, I've been there many times. You've seen me on the Sean Hannity show out in Yuma, Arizona sector. The number of illegal immigrants apprehended this year is 579% higher than last year. And that was already bad. That's 579%, guys. I think there is a moment where we have to take a step back and say, no more. No more. We are not going to put up with what is happening at our border. We are going to vote out those lawmakers that are not doing their job, and we are going to hold them accountable for what happens in this country, because believe me, something is going to happen. Something big is going to happen. Look, before I get to Congressman Biggs, don't let smelly things take over your life. I don't let them. I'm now using the power of EdenPure Thunderstorm air purifier. I've got them in my house. I told you I've got one in my dining room. I've got one in the main front part of our house in our living room. I'm getting another one for the upstairs. And right now, because I love them so much, and because I'm going to have 3 of them, you're going to be able to get 3 of them. You can save $200 on 3 units of EdenPure OxyLife 2 Thunderstorm by using the promo code SARA3. That's SARA Sarah 3. The EdenPure Thunderstorm air purifiers, proven oxy technology, quickly destroys viruses, odors, mold, and so much more. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds. It takes up no floor space, plugs directly into your wall. I mean, you can hide it anywhere, and is nearly silent. So it's great for use in bedrooms as well. And I'm going to tell you, my husband loves it. He said he didn't even know I had plugged him in, and we walked into the house after our vacation. We went to go see our daughter, and we walked in the house, and he's like, it smells like a new house. He literally said that. And it does. It does. It purifies the air. It works. Right now, you can save $200 on an EdenPure Thunderstorm 3-pack with the promo code Sara3. Get full coverage for your kitchen, office, bedroom, or anywhere you want to get rid of odors. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and put in the discount code Sara3 to save $200. And now we've got Congressman Andy Biggs from the great state of Arizona. He's a member of the House Judiciary Committee and the House Oversight Committee. More importantly, I love talking to him and the members of the House Freedom Caucus and the House Border Caucus. They really care about America. They really care about fighting the good fight for you. Thanks for being with me today, Congressman.
Sara, it's always good to be with you. This is one of the happiest places in the universe is when I'm with you on your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. It's funny because Laura Ingraham, she would say, "You're my happy warrior." I like to think of myself as a happy warrior right now because we have so many very real, very, I think, heavy issues and crisis facing our nation, not just, from thousands of miles away in the war in Ukraine and what's happening there. But I'm talking about right here on the homeland with the border, Congressman. You're a member of the House Judiciary Committee, House Oversight, Government Reform Committee. You're also the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus and the co-chair of the House Border Caucus. And I don't think there's anything more important right now than what is happening on our border.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, and we spent, I don't know how many hours yesterday, 10, 12 hours in Judiciary Committee, and the distinction between the Republicans understanding what's going on the border and the Democrats is so stark. They don't, I think a lot of them understand what's on the border. The Democrats, they don't care. They want this. And that is the distinction that we have. And one of our members yesterday said, this is reflective of the values that you have versus the values that we have. I don't think they love the country. I really don't. I mean, I think that they're fine to eliminate the Westphalian style nation state and the sovereignty of our country.
I agree with you on that. But one of the things that I've come to believe, Congressman, is that the border, what is happening there is actually done on purpose, that the administration right now, the Democrats, have created a crisis, have created a situation that is damaging our nation, that is destroying the fabric of our country, that is causing a humanitarian crisis in the Western Hemisphere. And I got to ask you this, and creating a national security crisis and humanitarian crisis in the United States as well. That's number one. The money that is being allocated by the Biden administration, all those hundreds of millions of dollars, and I would say even going into the past, even the Bush administration, I'm going to throw them in there too, Obama administration, I didn't see it in the Trump administration. But all the money that was being allocated to Central America and Mexico to resolve the so-called border crises ended up in the pockets of NGOs and people we don't even know. We can't even monitor that money. I know foreign governments that are having a hard time monitoring where that money goes. Do you think some of this money is being laundered through these NGOs? I mean, in a manufactured crisis, and people are lining their pockets with it? What's going on here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, whenever there's a ton of money that floats out there somewhere, bad people will find a way to get their hands on that money. I mean, they want it. So I think we fund NGOs that are actually recruiting people to come to this country illegally. I believe that. We do that through grants and that type of process. In the meantime, though, we indirectly are funding the cartel's operation everywhere we go. So I mean, you got that. Then you have corrupt governments. I mean, what about Honduras? I mean, we're funneling money down to Honduras, right, et cetera. Turns out that the former president was, he's got a drug distribution problem. That the problem being that he's the one distributing the drugs. I mean, this notion that you can go down and buy, because that's what this is about. These guys think you can buy good government. And if you have good government, people will stay in those nations. And if you Kamala Harris, she believes that if you can fix climate change, people will stay in the nations. But that aside, the reality is that isn't the problem. That isn't what's happening here. We are taking the best and the worst, quite frankly, of so many nations. And if those nations are going to succeed, they need both there, because they need to punish the worst and cultivate the best.
Absolutely. When I was in Guatemala a few years ago, some towns were almost emptied out. And in other cases, it wasn't just that the towns were emptied out. I was very curious about how in one case, and this was during the Trump administration, when all of the caravan was heading towards the U.S., it was a big, bold political statement. I remember Trump said, "We are not going to let them in." And they were coming across the border, and I was standing right there on the border. All men, a lot of them appeared to have gang tattoos, MS-13. And I thought to myself, because the majority were men, are they dumping their prisons? Are people dumping the prisons? Because I don't know where these men came from. I would ask them, how did you join this caravan? Where did you come from? Who gave you the new backpacks? Why are you carrying brand new flags? What's going on here? I almost felt that these people were being used, this one group in particular, to walk towards the U.S. and as a bold statement for some kind of political nefarious purpose, whether that was for Central American governments or whether that was for our own or both. Something is going on. And I believe that the majority of lawmakers, like you said, are not doing their job to figure out why this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, there's a different class too that's coming through right now, Sarah, down in Yuma. Here's what's happening. Some of these people, they're impatient. They want to be released into the U.S. immediately, right? They've got credit cards. So they say, well, we're going to release you into Yuma, and the NGO has no room for them. They'll go to a hotel, stay in the hotel. They'll be getting on a bus to be transported. They get Uber Eats delivered to them. They're paying with credit cards. This is not the caravan of 2019. These are people coming. They step across the river, and they've got new roller boards. They take off the traveling clothes, put on new clothes. They got a cell phone. They don't need to have a cell phone because the Biden administration said they're going to start giving everybody a cell phone.
Right.
They've got a cell phone, and they're FaceTiming the people back home. Hey, I made it. And I will tell you, sir, you've been there so many times, and I've been there so many times. I have watched people walk up. They can't believe how easy it is to walk across our border. I've actually seen them walk up to the Border Patrol agents or sheriff's deputies and say, where's the border? Where's America? You're in America. You've been in America for 10 minutes. What? I'm in America? It was that easy? Of course it was that easy. You paid your money to the cartel, or now you're going to be an indentured servant to the cartel, provide criminal activity for them, and pay.
Mm-hmm. Where the crime continues to be committed in the United States against American citizens.
Yeah, and it's so open that even the people coming across cannot believe, whoa, I can't believe it. That was easy. It's easier to get it here than to the United States illegally than to get into Disneyland these days.
That's a great point. That is a great point. We're going to go to Disneyland in a minute because I'm going to ask you about all the kind of new wokeness that's happening.
Oh no, I triggered.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you about that. I'm not going to let you off the hook with that. And I was going to say, what was interesting, I was reading a story, and for the life of me, I can't remember where I was reading it now, but there was a family that came across our border, and half of the family were Canadian citizens. Half of the children. So what had happened was they realized it would be easier than applying for a visa and trying to get in. So when the father had to cross illegally, the family was from Africa. The father came through Mexico. They sent the kids to Mexico that were already in Canada to cross with the dad illegally into the United States so that they could all just become U.S. citizens. This is absolute insanity right now. And they're going to remove Title 42. They're going to remove Title 42. May 23rd, it's over. So what do you think is going to happen then?
I've already been talking to line agents down around the country, and what they're all telling me, they all tell me the same thing, that this is going to explode. Because, Sarah, in just the first 2 weeks of March, they encountered 100,000 people. They sent 50,000 of them away under Title 42. The other 50,000 are now roaming around the United States. But they at least got half out on Title 42. What's going to happen is, and in a normal month now, we're getting 200,000 apprehensions. So that number is going to increase to probably 300,000 to 400,000. And nobody's going to be turned away under Title 42. This administration won't use Remain in Mexico policy. They're doing 9 people a day, by the way, Sarah, under MPP program. 9 a day. Whereas Trump was doing literally hundreds a day, keeping people out. And so what's going to happen, in my opinion, you're going to be north of 400,000, maybe 500,000. I mean, the estimates is, and this is not a ceiling. This is kind of the floor, is 18,000. That's the floor they think they're going to, a day. That's a day. You're going to be getting 600,000 people apprehended every month going forward. And
that's just not sustainable.
No.
There is not a nation, our taxpayer dollars, our children, our nation's national security. I got to tell you this. We're looking right now, I'm looking at death tolls in Ukraine. I'm just going to bring this up because I want to get your opinion on this. And it deals with the border. I'm seeing right now in Mariupol, there might be 5,000 Ukrainians. Their United Nations office said that between February 24th and March 23rd, 1,035 civilians were killed, 1,650 injured. Maybe with the Russians, a little bit more. There's different estimates. Some are saying up to 16,000 Russians wounded, 3,400 possibly injured, and 1,400 killed. Those are Russians. Now, all of that combined doesn't even come close to the 100,000 Americans that have been killed by fentanyl poisoning or heroin overdose in our nation, and many of them young children and people's parents and brothers and sisters. And I've spoken to families who had no idea how bad it was until after someone in their family died or accidentally took a pill that they thought was a prescription and died of a fentanyl overdose. Over 100,000 Americans here in the United States. And that's just the bottom of the barrel, because all the kids that are killing each other in the middle of our urban cities, fighting drug wars, the drug cartels owning part of our territory across America, from Georgia to Ohio to California. There is a war in America, and no one's even paying attention to it.
I'm with you on that. I get castigated because I think we should be focusing on our border, our cities, our crime, our people here, solving our problems. And quite frankly, this notion that we're going to heal other governments that we think are corrupt, when in my opinion our government's corrupt, and we've got to clean up our own mess here, is absolutely ludicrous. Now, you got to say this: there was no provocation for Russia to enter Ukraine at all. There was no provocation, and this is outrageous. And if war crimes have been committed, then they need to be, Putin and company will be brought to bear. But the bottom line is this: you mentioned fentanyl deaths. Just the other day, you had an illegal alien kill 3 people in Florida. Drunk driver killed 3 people in a crash. We're not even talking about the 120 plus individuals died in the deserts of one Texas county last year trying to get across. This happens all over the place. What's happening is inhumane. You've heard of the rape trees, but I don't know if you
Right.
but there's also the thing with this incident that Sheriff Mark Lamp told me about. His deputies basically were rescuing a lost lady in the desert. She has a bag of pills. By the way, Arizona alone, 13 million fentanyl pills last year. 40% of all fentanyl pills are lethal, according to DEA. So they wonder so it makes, law enforcement says, well, what do you have? And she says, well, these are morning after pills. Well, why are you carrying these? Well, she said, I knew that I would be raped repeatedly, but, and I find myself saying, I'm just so outraged by this. She thought she would be raped repeatedly, which she was. She wanted a morning after pill. And who's raping her? The same dogs that she's paying money to bring her across. And this inhumanity is not that's not a one-off story. This is what's happening daily on our border.
I was just with Texas DPS up in the mountains in Big Bend National Park here in Texas. The people that we're coming across are the people that do not want to be caught, or the people that are moving others over those mountains, and they really don't either care about them or they're just taking their money. They abandoned an 18-year-old girl, this one smuggler. The DPS rescued her off the top of a 1,000-foot mountain while I was with them. 18 years old, obviously had been accosted by these smugglers and these human traffickers. But the people that were coming across, these aren't like good guys.
Right.
These are men dressed in camo, scaling the mountains in Big Bend in the middle of the night like an army, and our fixed wing aircraft with their ISR capabilities are literally taking pictures of these guys, hoping that sometime in the morning they'll be able to apprehend them with Border Patrol before they reach I-90 and end up in our country. That's crazy. That's crazy that we have people scaling our mountains in camo with narcotics or God knows whatever else, because we don't know who they're bringing across. They could be moving a terrorist for all we know. We've seen them come across the border. And no one seems to be, I don't know, on Capitol Hill outraged about that other than you and those members of the Border Caucus and people that have been screaming mad about this. What is it going to take for someone to pay attention to the border?
It's going to take a full-on regime change. Look, we had Mayorkas come to the Border Security Caucus, which I was surprised he would agree to, but he came in the other day. And they have no plan on what they're going to do after Title 42. They are basically content with an open border. It's the same old garbage. What's your plan? Well, our plan is we're going to keep working with, if you have to stop them at your border, you'll never get border security. So we're going to talk to Mexico, work with Mexico and the Northern Triangle states. That's garbage. That's garbage. You can do that. You keep working with them. You have to. But you had better build your fence. You had better stand up from the rooftops and say, you're not coming in. And if you come here illegally, we don't care what your story is. We're sending you home. Until you do that, the world will come. 157 nations have come this year.
And you can see our enemies are already taking advantage of that. They're already both China, Russia, anybody, Iran, terrorists, anybody who understands what's happening in our country is taking advantage of it. I want to ask you about something else that I think is really important before I let you go. I want to ask you about this wokeness at Disney. I was in Orlando for Sean this week. I was talking to families that I spoke to, even foreigners. Although one foreign family they were from Wales, they were just railing on Disney, and I thought it was about the wokeness, but it was actually about the long lines and how horrible it was, and that they would go back home and tell everybody how horrible it was. And I was like, oh, so you're mad about the logistics, not about the wokeness. And she's like, oh, yes, she had no idea what I was talking about. So, but most American families and people that were from overseas that had heard about it were stunned. They were like angry. They were upset. People were canceling their Disney subscriptions. They said they weren't going to Disneyland. The people that I spoke to that were there, that they had canceled their plans to go and that they weren't going to, give money to Disney. What is happening? Do you think Americans are waking up? Or do you think that the power of these corporations is going to be so much that it's going to squeeze maybe the American people that we used to call like the silent majority? Or will the silent majority just wake up and say no more?
Well, I think people are awakening. I mean, we saw it with this school curriculum, the woke school curriculum. There's others, everything from CRT to transgender type of education curricula out there. So when you see this, we are in a culture war right now. We are in an absolute culture war, and the problem with our companies is that you look at Disney, it's huge. It's not just an amusement park company. They are one of the biggest film distributors and producers in the country, in the world. They also own media outlets of all kinds, TV outlets, cable, social media. They're involved in everything, and in being involved in everything, you saw. I don't know if you saw this yesterday and the day before. There's some surreptitious recordings of producers and whatnot for Disney that talk about how they were trying to basically groom, through their materials, and you look at it and you say, how can we let this stand? And because this is undermining the values. I don't think it's just going to be an ongoing culture war, and as people wake up, hopefully the silent majority will wake up. I think those are the people that are part of the 75% of Americans who say we're on the wrong path. It's everything from the economy to the culture wars to the border to being unsafe in your community to this notion that I got to go pay every time they go to the pump. They say it's for. But my wife told me yesterday. She's in Arizona. I'm here. She's in DC. She said she filled up and it was just under $5 a gallon. This is in the Phoenix metro area. And
it's crazy. I fill up my tank because I travel all over the country and I rent cars when I travel for Fox. And I just can't even believe it. $7.99 in California in some places, a gallon, 5 something a gallon. I saw $8.29 a gallon in Wyoming.
Whoa.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. That was on a long highway for people that were not smart enough to know that just 15 miles further. That's where they get you. That's where the highway robbery sign came from, right there. And I have been a victim of that, believe me. Well, I wanted to ask you this because I want to go back to the border really quick. Just want to get your reaction because I forgot all about this. I don't know how, but to Texas Governor Greg Abbott's plan to bus all the illegal migrants to Washington, D.C. Now, I don't know how that'll make you feel. Are you going to go out and hand out baggies like welcome packages when they show up at the border caucus? Or send them to Nancy Pelosi's office?
Yeah, welcome to D.C., now go home kind of thing, There's the old thing that, we're glad you're here, go home. I think it's a brilliant idea. And I listened to that committee hearing because somebody brought it up. And the Democrats are like, well, that would be abduction, that would be kidnapping. And I'm like, no, he said they're going to volunteer. We'll send you to D.C. Get on our bus. We'll take you to D.C. Let them do it. Let the people here see a little bit of it. I mean, even the El Paso rep doesn't. I don't think she has any clue as to what's happening. And Mayorkas, what did they do last week? Hey, we want politically correct pronoun use. That's going to actually bring the border under control. When they come in illegally, we're going to ask them, what are your preferred pronouns?
Yeah, what are your preferred? Are you just call them humans? Welcome humans.
Welcome humans.
Or are they not human anymore? Because maybe they think they're a cat or a dog. I don't know. And then we've got to call them a feline. But it is kind of crazy. What you should do, and this is just an idea, I'm just throwing it out there. You should get on the House floor and offer the Democrats an opportunity to put their money where their mouth is and say, with all a lot of you have homes here in Washington, D.C. I think because you care so much about illegals wanting to come in and you expect the American people to put up with it, you should offer a room in your home and sponsor an illegal family or a single male adult or a child, right. With a mother, and you should open your house to them.
Yeah.
I just think put your money where your mouth is. You expect Americans to live with people that haven't been vetted. Let them live with you and see how you like it. See if they replace the food in the fridge or return Nancy's ice cream or make sure it's closed when she puts it in there.
That's where she draws the line. That expensive ice cream. Nobody's getting that but her. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, I want
Or
him to
her
do
vodka.
that.
I'm just kidding.
I understand that you, like a root beer float, you might make a vodka float. I don't know.
A vodka, they charge money for those.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Yeah,
See,
they're making them now. Only Tito's vodka, though, not Russian vodka.
Well, speaking of Russia, you now have an influx of Russian folks coming to the border. I got a picture from a guy down there this week, and he said it looks like the Eastern Bloc has arrived in Yuma. I mean, it's just, you had Uzbekistan, all this,
And you don't know because you have people from Ukraine, you have people from Russia, but you have people from Chechnya, you have people from Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. Look, we don't have Border Patrol agents that speak every single language and understand cultural differences in the language or idiosyncrasies. We just don't know who these people are. We just don't know. If they come over and they're like, I am not Russian, I am from Mexico, then we could be like, oh, yeah, no. No. We don't believe that, but they're not going to be that obvious, right?
Well, but it wouldn't matter because the instructions from Homeland Security is you take them, if they don't have ID, you ask them and they'll tell you and then you believe them. And
right.
We don't have these databases on everybody. If somebody has committed a crime in some country, we may have no access to know what that crime was, or anything like that. And that's just the people that we apprehend. What you said earlier was so true. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people coming in, potentially with malevolent intentions. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know what they want to do.
And we don't know if they made it to Highway 90 and jumped in the back of a semi-truck, that was waiting for them on the edge of the road at 5 a.m. in the morning, and they made their way over that mountainside at Big Bend National Park, and then they're gone. They disappear into the fabric. So we would have no idea. So basically, our lawmakers are saying that their most fundamental job, that our founding fathers, and I'm talking about the Biden administration and the Democrats, and some Republicans that don't care, maybe Mitt Romney, I don't know. But they, that they are saying that they are not going to do the most fundamental job, which is all they have to do is make sure that Americans are protected, that our national security is the main focus so that, stay out of our lives, stay out of our states, let the states do their thing, stay out of our business, stop trying to, own us and, give us free things so that you can own us. Get out of that. Just protect our nation. And they don't even want to do that. They want to protect Ukraine. Okay, fine. I get it. I get that Russia's a bad, he's a bad hombre, Vladimir Putin. But guess what? Guess what? We have people here that want to harm our own children and are literally killing us in our streets. Before I let you go, what is to you the most important, like if you can name 3 top priorities come November 20, November midterm elections that you see for the Republican Party, 3 top priorities, and do you think we will take back the House and the Senate?
I think we'll take back the House. Some of this stuff I'm seeing makes me think we might actually take the Senate back. I mean, in a more than just by a couple seats even. I think this red wave may be a real thing. I've been very skeptical of it, Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. But the 3 top priorities, I'll tell you what people are telling me. I mean, people on the street, they are concerned as anything about inflation in the economy. They're scared to death. They're scared to death. I got fixed income retirees in my district, and they're like, they used to go out to eat for $15 for 2 of them. And now it's $30. They can't do that. They're having trouble making ends meet and getting the groceries they need, going where they need to go. So it's income and economy. The second thing is this border issue is huge. People are really concerned about it, and they're properly linking it to crime, the crime that's coming over. And then the third thing is they're concerned, and I've got suburban districts, and I've got a lot of suburban moms and housewives, and they're in the district, and they're concerned about the indoctrination in our schools. What they want is they want to make sure that their kids getting the best education, not indoctrination. They want to see the curriculum. You've got school districts in Arizona that won't let the parents see the curriculum. They won't let them know what's being taught. They want transparency, so they want educational freedom. And right now, you're still sitting about a quarter of all of Arizona's students are in some alternative education deal. And if this keeps up, I would imagine you're going to see that exodus from the traditional public schools increase, because simply you can't keep doing this and offending parents by telling them that we know more about your kid and what your kid should know than you. It's a values thing. Parents know what values they have. The educators don't give a rip about those parents' values or the values at home. They want to inculcate and indoctrinate in their own values.
That's absolutely right. And, there are a lot of mama bears out there, people that have not bought into that, communist, Marxist, leftist ideology that's been implemented in our universities across America. And I'm telling you, the conservative mama bears out there have a big voice. That's what we saw in Loudoun County. That's what we're going to see across the United States. And I think that if the lawmakers can rally, especially the Republicans, can rally the moms across the country, the red wave is going to be bigger than anything they've ever seen, because education is going to be, I agree with you, one of the top priorities, the economy and the border. You're 100% right. Thank you so much for being on the show, Congressman. I love having you on. This is great. I can't wait to bring you back on to catch up, but I really do appreciate everything you're doing to fight for us up on Capitol Hill.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for all you do. I mean, we love watching you all over the world. And this is one of the best times I have is talking to you. And thank goodness our conversations before we do this are not ever put on. So that's good.
That's what everybody wants to hear. But we just know we would upset the snowflakes. No.
Absolutely, we would.
You guys all know how I feel about Mike Lindell and how he is a true patriot for America, and how his company, MyPillow, really cares about American products. But more than that, its products are great. They're great. I love them. I've said it before. I have them in my house. I've ordered them for my children, the sheets, the towels. My husband has the slippers. I have the slippers. All my dogs sleep on MyPillow dog beds. Why? Because they're wonderful products. But we also have a huge deal now. This is the current offer, and I'm going to tell you, you're not going to regret it. Towels that are regularly $109.99 are going for $39.99. These are the towel sets, okay? They're 6-piece towel sets. They're made with cotton grown in the U.S. Other towels feel good, but they don't absorb the water the way MyPillow towels do. I'm telling you, my entire house is now MyPillow towels. Look, for a limited time, get the MyPillow 6-piece towel set. Regularly $109.99 for only $39.99 with promo code Carter. That's CARTER. Visit mypillow.com/Carter or call 1-800-685-7221. You'll also find deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the MyPillow mattress topper, MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets, and so much more. Get your 6-piece MyPillow towel set for only $39.99 today at mypillow.com/Carter. Or call 1-800-685-7221, mypillow.com/Carter. Okay, you guys all know that I was in Orlando. I talked about it just a little bit right now with Congressman Andy Biggs, but I was there because of all of this, new information coming out from Disney, the woke Disney. Disney isn't going to say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls anymore. Disney's implementing all kinds of transgender, trans-neutral, pansexual issues into our children's programming, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. Well, now there is something that has become even more ludicrous and dangerous, I believe, than what Disney is doing. Because what Disney is doing is actually very dangerous. And they're actually damaging our children. And these weird groomers, you know who I'm talking about, need to be put in their place, which is why so many people are canceling their Disney subscriptions, their Disney Prime, not going to Disneyland anymore, including members of my family and including me as well. But now Palm Springs, California will pay you, anyone that says it, for being transgender or non-binary. $900 per month, no strings attached. So you could literally live in Palm Springs. You can say you're a transgender, non-binary person and get an extra $900 per month, no strings attached, except for the fact that the money has to come from somewhere. So these are tax dollars. You know what I think is going to happen? I think all the homeless people throughout America should just go to Palm Springs because they're going to pay you $900 per month if you say you're a transgender or non-binary. Who cares, right? Collect the paycheck. That's what's going to happen. I wonder how the residents of Palm Springs are going to feel. You know, all those hoity-toity rich people, there's some really good people there too. But a lot of hoity-toity rich people, do you think they're going to want people on their sidewalks collecting $900 checks per month? Homeless people? How about that? How about that? Or do they have to have an address? I mean, I don't know. What are the details there? But it's absolutely insane. I don't know what's happening to our world, guys. I worry about the future of our children. I would be less worried if the silent majority or the American people who really know, you know, deep down in your heart, none of this is right. I mean, it's like that gut feeling, right? You know when you're doing something that's wrong. You know when you're doing something that's good. Our gut feeling is telling all of us that the direction of our nation is off. It's wrong. It's wrong. And it is damaging our families. It is damaging our children. It is damaging our nation. It is breaking the fabric of our nation apart. And we are the only ones, you and I, who can stop this. I'm motivated to do it with you. Let's do it. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what we need to do, but the first thing we need to do is speak out and stand up. And that means not supporting, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much. I know your kids love Disney, no matter if they're going to cry for a little bit. Then believe me, there'll be other shows there. We need to stand up and we need to take a stand. And we need to say no more. It's unacceptable. You will not damage my children. You will not damage me. We need to tell that to the lawmakers who aren't doing their jobs. We need to vote out this president who isn't even the president anymore. We know that. You guys saw that. He was walking around lost this last week, right when Obama was pretending to be president. President Biden was behind him, spinning around in circles, staring at flags. It was sad. It was humiliating. It was degrading. And our enemies are watching us. And our enemies are here. And our enemies are here. Congressman Biggs is right. There is corruption in our government. There is corruption in our government that is like a rotten apple. It's rotting everything at the core. And we need to put a stop to it before we lose it. Because, folks, there is no other place on earth as good or as awesome as America and what it stands for, this nation. And you know what? She is on life support right now. We better get together. We better help her. We better give CPR. We better stand up for our country and fight back, or we're not going to have one anymore. I'm sorry to say, we are not. We are not. And that's not being alarmist. That's just looking at the facts. Thanks again for being a part of the Sara Carter Show. We'll be back with more. So many great guests coming up next week. I can't wait to share that with you. Remember, go to saracarter.com. Connect to all of my social media links there. You can also sign up for our email list so that you do not get shadow banned. Hey guys, God bless you, every single one of you, and all of your children and your families. God bless our great nation. And of course, God bless the great state of Texas. Today, I'm joined by Rebecca Weber, the CEO of the Association for Mature American Citizens. It's also known as AMAC. The most important question, I think, for so many people out there is, how much does AMAC membership cost? What does it cost the regular consumer?
Yeah, so for $16 a year, okay, or less, you can join at a 1, 3, or 5-year membership. You get a couple of things. You get the benefits. You get a great subscription to a magazine. So for $16, you're going to receive a bi-monthly magazine. But your voice is now going to be heard in Washington. We take our marching orders from you. If you stand for faith, family, freedom, if you believe in the Constitution, if you believe in the greatness of America, if you believe in individual freedoms and everything you just said, Sara, $16 is not a lot of money to join the 2.3 million members that are really fighting hard to ensure that America remains the best country in the world.
Rebecca, thanks so much for being with me today. I'm honored to have you and AMAC as a sponsor for the Sara Carter Show. For more information, folks, visit amac.us/Carter.